So I saw the other day in my Facebook group, somebody said, this is the last step in me launching my business. I need to figure out how to take payments for jobs. And some of you may be sitting here listening and watching and thinking to yourselves like, yeah, I know I need to process cards. I know I need some sort of system for that or some sort of software. What do I do? Well, today's episode is going to answer that question for you.
Big thing for those who aren't implementing a tech solution is it's not going away. If you don't have one right now, if it's not required of you right now, it's going to be. And getting in that early is a benefit in general. The organization of it, the professionalism of it, people win bids by looking more professional. Being able to have those benefits at the tip of your finger is huge. As professional organizing continues to change, we'll adapt with that. We'll understand those changing needs with you. We'll hear you when you give us feedback. We'll make Project2Payment fit to it rather than making your business fit to a tech solution.
I'm very excited to be talking about a really great opportunity for payment processing that's going to be easier than you thought, less expensive, and way more accessible, and get your cash flow going for your business. So I encourage you to stick around and let's get into it. Hey, and welcome to the Speak Organized podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Summers, professional organizer, ADHD organizing specialist, and your go-to gal for all things pro-organizing business. I like to speak organized to give you the tools to conquer your clutter, live life with more purpose, and learn all about the business of tidying. Do me a favor if you haven't done this already, because I don't want you to miss a single future episode. Take out your device and go ahead and tap that subscribe button so that you become a member of the Speaker fam. Don't forget to also hit that like button and tap the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube so that you're notified whenever we post new content every single week. If you happen to be listening to this on Apple Podcasts, you can go ahead and leave us a rave 5-star review so that we can reach more amazing folks just like you who want to level up their organizing business game. And if you're jonesing for some of that genuine connection, you've got a ton of questions that you need answered, well then you got to come on over and join my free Facebook group. We've got tons of very supportive members in there. It's a very active community, ready and waiting to help you out. So I'll make sure to leave the links to all that good stuff down in the description of the video and the podcast show notes. The main mission here at I Speak Organized is to give you the best quality tools and resources to level up your business and have a truly successful 6 or 7-figure business that doesn't suck away all of your time. So if you're brand new to all of this and it seems very overwhelming, you don't really know where to start, you have come to the right place. I am your go-to gal for all things pro-organizing business. If you're afraid that you aren't enough, like you don't have enough experience or you don't really have the goods to bring to the table to charge what other people charge or whatever story you happen to be telling yourself, I am here to help you understand that you can be exceptional with the right tools and training. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how I can help you with that. But in the meantime, let's get into this juicy interview. All right, Speaker fam, please join me in welcoming my friend Jack. He is the product manager for Project2Payment. He's going to school us up and tell us some really cool features about this, because I know there are tons of people here today that ask questions about how do I take payment? And this could be the best solution that you could possibly ever find. So Jack, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. I am first time, long time. I've watched many of these even before we were connected. So this is a cool moment in a way. I'm a big podcast fan in general. It's my first actual podcast appearance. So I'm excited to be here, excited to connect with the Speaker fam and talk a little bit.
Yes, we're excited to have you too. And I love when I get to be people's introduction to the podcast universe to come on the show. And I can't think of anybody better to come on and talk about this. So let's dive in. Before we get into the actual product itself, the software itself, I want to learn a little bit more about you. And this is something you and I have talked off camera at length before, but I don't really know much about your professional background. And I think it's fun to find that out. So can you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you became involved with Project2Payment?
Yeah, love this question. I'm going to clip this later and send it to my mom because she definitely can't answer this question herself. So I started just over 5 years ago, right out of college. I actually had another job lined up, and I had a buddy who was going to work for this company. He was like, just interview. They have a job opening. So I relented and went and hit it off for a number of the reasons we'll talk about at some point during this podcast. And started as a project coordinator, doing like a million different things, which was perfect for a kid out of college who didn't really know exactly what he wanted to do. So I had to do a million different things, from some data work to helping with processes to taking out the trash when our building manager was gone, and learn from a lot of cool people. And as those projects kind of grew, I moved into a little bit of product work, starting first within internal products, so managing new features, all those beautiful things. And then Project2Payment became the new baby for us, the new launch. And one of those projects I was working on became that. And as it has grown, it's taken up now 100% of my time. And I've been able to transition from that project coordinator to a project manager, and now the product manager of Project2Payment.
Wow, that's awesome. And I am really excited to chat a bit more about it, because I know that many people may not necessarily know what it is.
Yeah, so Project2Payment would be like a brand inside of the rest of them. So we operate a number of payment processing applications for different industries. Project2Payment is the new launch under that. So it's about 2 years now we've been embarking into the home service and service industries.
Okay, cool. So Project2Payment, just to clarify, to make sure that people are understanding, is specifically tailored to the home services industry. So hint, hint, professional organizers, plumbers, contractors, interior designers, all those different home service professionals, correct?
Totally. And we started with that, saying home services, and then I started to say service businesses. And eventually I've gotten to the point where I just say anybody who needs to send invoices and organize their business, and tap into some really industry leading payment rates. I know we'll talk about payment rates and the confusion around some of that. So yeah, home services for sure. Professional organizers, obviously, that's why I'm here and why we connected. But yeah, anybody in the service industry, or anybody who needs to manage some things and send invoices.
Right, right. Okay. So obviously there are many other companies in the space that do the same thing. So what do you feel makes you guys unique to platform giants like Stripe, Square, PayPal, all of that?
Totally. Some of that specificity for sure, having features specifically for businesses who need to track customer information or locations, or put your price book in somewhere so you can work quickly. And beyond that, the entry point, we're priced competitively, we're affordable. A lot of those can grow, especially as you climb up those tiers. They end up costing you more money than you're probably saving with some of those rates and things like that. So that's for sure a big one, being priced and affordable. And I mentioned the payment rates earlier. A lot of times you'll see as low as in a percentage, which ends up not being what you pay. That's the very bare minimum in a certain situation if you're card present and you're tapping. And we saw that, did industry research and understood that this is something that's happening, and something that we can tap into and provide a value for a large number of businesses, to give them a tool that's more affordable, specified for them, and give them some really premier rates.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm trying really hard to let you talk about this and not get too overly excited about some of the things that we're going to talk about today. But first, I kind of want to dive into kind of the core mission and values. And that was something that really stood out to me in our conversation that I was super impressed by, because you guys have a lot of integrity. There's an abundance of honesty and sort of transparency behind your mission, the Project2Payment mission. And so can you just tell us a little bit more about that and why that's so important to you, and how you put that sort of transparency at the forefront of your business practices?
Totally. And it starts, as cliche as it sounds, with the people. You'll hear those core values when you interview that first interview for that college kid. That's one of the things, just like you're saying, that sticks out to you and makes it something you want to be a part of. So that's just who we are as people, how we interact with each other. And then the beauty of that is that comes through when we interact with customers, that honesty and openness of those payment rates. There's no as low as, it's going to be exactly that 2.9%. And you're just going to hear it up front, and you're going to feel it when you interact with the support team, which, don't get me started on how much I love the support team. I'm sure we'll touch on that. Same thing with the sales team. Hopefully that comes off, in our conversation today from the product team as well. But it's a group of people who share those things, and that allows the product to kind of have those things at its core.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's nice that you have a good core group of people that you can actually reach a real person when you call customer service,
Yes.
that's US based and super friendly. And, having dealt with that in the past, it has been challenging. So it's nice that you have that as sort of the backbone of the company. So, with that being said, let's get into some of the features of the actual payment processing software platform, whatever you want to call it itself.
Yeah.
So you guys obviously boast user friendliness. So can you walk us through how a typical contractor, let's use professional organizers as an example, since that's 99.9% of the listener and viewership
Yeah.
here. Just kind of walk us through how they might use the software from start to finish, just like 30,000-foot bird's eye view.
Sure. I love this question, and it's a funny juxtaposition because it's ease of use, but this answer is kind of difficult to give because it's so easy to use. There's so many different ways to use the platform. Many of our different users, some people use it just as an invoicing software. And at that price point, you have the ability to kind of plug it in. Some people use it 100% from our website tools, plugging in and gaining request forms, converting those to projects, invoicing off of that, managing your customers. Some people just use the simplest of simple and use this as a terminal, essentially having like a credit card processor in your pocket in order to tap into those rates. So the beauty is it's so easy to use that's a difficult question to answer, where it can really be whatever they need it to be. And of course, we're always adding features to make that answer always true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So essentially, it's not just payment processing software; it's also sort of CRM as well. I don't remember if you guys do any email campaign or email marketing stuff with it, or if that's kind of like in the pipeline.
Yes, my marketing team's going to get me in trouble here when we hang up the phone. We're not quite CRM quite yet, but we're definitely leaning into those features. In a matter of weeks, we're going to have an email blast tool and some communication history and things like that. Constantly adding features. I'm sure we'll chat about that too, based off of what we're hearing from partners or customers and things like that. But yeah, it's much more than just that payment processing. Most of the time, that's what businesses use. I mentioned just plugging it in. It's a tool in your tool belt. So it certainly can be that, or it can be your go-to business management tool where you're gathering customer information, you're tracking your payments, exporting and manipulating data to see profitability and different things like that. So, well, the main value, especially at this point, is the affordability and tapping into those top class payment rates. There's quite a bit of value now in other things, and it's things we're adding to each week, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know people listening and watching today, especially if you are brand new and you don't have any of these systems set up, you should be really excited about this conversation and this potential, because this could check a lot of the boxes off for you that have kind of been standing in your way in terms of launching your business. So go back, watch, listen, take notes, and get in touch with Jack, of course, Okay, pop quiz time. How would you feel 6 months from now if you were sitting in this same spot and you owned your own professional organizing business that was booked out with clients that you actually really like to work with every single day? How would you feel in that moment? I imagine that you'd feel pretty good, but we're sitting here today and there might be something holding you back. It could be that little doubt whispering to you, who am I to do this? And I'm here to tell you right now that I have been there, we've all been there, and it is not only possible to overcome those fears, but it is essential, because there are people out there right now who need someone exactly like you. Remember, I am here in your corner to help you with this process. My brand new mini course, From Overlooked to Overbooked, it's all about finding and attracting the right clients for your business to book your calendar solid with proven strategies. No more reinventing the wheel. I'm going to show you how to set up and optimize your website and boost your visibility with SEO strategies that actually work, that I use in my own business and many of my clients do as well. I'm going to show you how to promote your business so that you don't feel like a sleazy used car salesman from the 1980s. And I'm going to show you marketing strategies and materials that you definitely haven't come across. They are specific to our industry. And I'm going to show you how to network effectively, who who to talk to. I'm going to give you scripts and I'm going to give you templates, all the things that you need to feel confident stepping into your business owner's shoes and rocking it to build a successful organizing business. And lastly, I want to invite you, if you're ready for more tools and you want to get paying clients in the door faster, to go pick up my Pro Organizer Forms Pack, which has 9 done for you forms in a free Canva account that are 100% customizable templates. You get access to all the essential forms that you need to onboard your clients and run your business professionally. You get the client agreement, health and safety waiver, credit card authorization form, and so many other forms that you will need to run your business. You start with the starter pack or the premium pack. You have 2 options to choose from. And again, that information is linked down below. As a thank you for being an amazing member of my speaker fam, you're going to get $8 off both my overbooked course and my Pro Organizer Forms Pack using the code YTPRO8 at checkout. So that's it. No more waiting. It is time to step up and make your dreams a reality, because your future as a sought after professional organizer is just one decision away. So let's talk about key benefits, top 3, because I know, like you said, there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a lot of things coming that are going to be released eventually through Project2Payment, but just let's talk about the top 3 key benefits as they exist right now that people can expect when they're using this.
Sure. I've already mentioned the price point and those payment rates, and while that, is a key benefit, I'm going to put that to the side for a second, and list a couple others. One of the big ones, and this is funny saying it in this podcast to this platform of people, is organization. It's silly to say that professional organizers might struggle with business organization, but having the ability to manage all of that in one place and see your jobs from this past week, your jobs for the next week, your customers that you do repeat work for, your price book that you can put in there, having that all in one place, being able to edit it on the fly, add things, change things, make it dynamic to fit your business is a big one. It's ridiculous to say organization is a benefit to this group of people, but I know a lot of times in your past podcasts, it's not organized people who are helping people organize. So that's a big one. I would say the professionalism that comes with it. When you create an invoice, when you create a project, when you add a customer in Project2Payment, everything is with your branding without having to customize or edit that. So you have to write your business name at the top of a letterhead. It's all going to be in there. The email is going to come from your professional email. It's going to be formatted really nice and look how you want it professionally. And then number 2 on the times I mentioned support is it's a huge benefit having that fail safe. It's an easy to use system. We're going to say ease of use pretty much everywhere when you go to the site. And I joke when I give Melanie the very first demo, I was like, I'm going to talk for 45 minutes and be really annoyed. It's so easy to use, like get it as soon as I bring it up. But in that rare case that you do have an issue, email responses are lightning quick. Phone calls are only a few rings. And you get somebody that's going to be able to walk you through those things and get you set up right in a really, really efficient way.
And they're going to be super nice about it too. Like, that's huge.
As nice as I might be, they're like 2 times more charming and probably have better jokes. So that's a cherry on top.
Oh, I don't know, Jack. I mean, that's a tall order. And just as a side note, Jack and I are both from Minnesota.
Yes.
So
yes, of course.
You get that right. Yeah, I see the twin stuff in the background there. I mean,
yeah. No comments on the accent, please. I'm going to try my best to keep the you betchas and the oh yeahs to a minimum, but can't control it.
They're going to fly out.
They're going to flow. They're going to flow.
That's okay. It might encourage and inspire my former accent. I really do work hard to also sort of suppress it a bit now that I've lived in the Pacific Northwest now for about 11 years. So sure. I've been out of Minnesota for a long time, but it does come out every once in a while. Yeah. But my whole point, of course, in bringing that up is, of course, you're just going to be interacting with the nicest people you can possibly imagine, because you get that Minnesota nice there. So
no doubt.
Okay, so all this sounds really great, right? It sounds awesome. But let's do a little reality check here, and let's talk about some current customers that you guys have. If you can share a success story or just an anecdote, testimonial of some kind where somebody has used Project2Payment and has experienced a significant benefit, or, explosion in sales or something fun? Like just share something fun with us.
Sure. Yeah. Funny enough, it actually, the first one that pops into my mind is our very first customer. Bill was his name. Bill owned and operated an extremely successful lawn care and snow removal business. For some of our southern listeners, like snow removal, like yeah. So you do work the whole year. Yeah. And Bill was old school. I say successful to point out that a lot of times processes don't need to be changed for success of the business. You're not drowning by chance, but you're spending a lot of time doing things you might not want to do, like sending out invoices or tracking customers or tracking payments that are still outstanding. And Bill came aboard as admittedly, and I can use this quote because he said it, the least tech savvy person around, and was able to use the application to take his invoices from scribble in his truck on a piece of paper, or at the end of the month, stuffing envelopes, to logging on, having that saved customer information, sending it out. He said he cut his invoice time in half at the end of each month. I'm guessing if he was even more tech savvy, that might be into a third or a quarter. And we even heard from some of his customers with praise, saying that it's so nice not to have to dust off a checkbook anymore, cut a check and put it in the mail, which definitely feels a little bit old school. And I'll say, if Bill can remove the barrier to entry to use a payment processing application, there's nobody who's going to be in this group who was able to navigate YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify to find this that can't make it work for their business.
Right. Absolutely. That's a great testament to our favorite phrase of the day, ease of use for Project2Payment.
Yeah.
So I think that I know I have so many clients and hopefuls that come to me that are afraid of the technology. They don't feel tech savvy, and just knowing that you have a good support system, something that's easy to use, that's going to improve the professionalism of your business. And it's also going to cut back on all of that back end work, that slog. And that's a huge question that I ask my coaching clients when we're trying to determine their hourly rate, because they're always figuring out, well, how do I want to price this? And I'm like, well, how many hours are you going to spend actually making money? Because you're always going to be working. You have all that back end work that you're going to be doing. And if you have tools like this that can cut that time in half, a third, even to a quarter of the time it would normally take you, that means that you have more time to spend in the field making some money. And that's important to all of us, whether we want to admit it or not. But that's the truth of why we're in business, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about a few more features. We talked about sort of the basics. Are there any sort of like innovative features or something that we haven't discussed yet that might pique somebody's interest when it comes to what we have access to with this?
Sure. Yeah, there's plenty. Some of the fun ones that pop into my mind are simple ones, like QR codes everywhere in the back office. Anything that will generate a customer facing page, an invoice, a payment method. You have the ability to just tap a generate QR code button, turn your phone around, and now you don't have to do that awkward device handling or awkward, can you tell me your payment information? Other ones that I know people love are website tools. Websites are the lifeblood of your business oftentimes. Being able to put request forms so people can now just inline in your website, enter their information, a quick scope of what they're looking to have done, their location, and send that to you. Users can then quick convert that to invoices and things like that. All of that's managed. And then another one that you had chatted recently, I think Natalie was on the podcast, and you guys mentioned AI. AI is a scary term. It gives me like goosebumps even just saying it, thinking about the abilities, but leaning into that. There's no current features public facing, but in our development and in our security, we're constantly using AI to streamline processes on our end, to test the security of things. It's a lot easier to have an AI tool test those things than manually testing it, and continuing to lean into that as we add features. I know I said add features a bunch as well, but that's a cool thing that you hear often, and we're excited to kind of plug that in and have that be part of the system available to people soon.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's so many great things. That is very exciting. Okay. So
Probably a podcast topic on its own, like AI and service businesses. And Probably have somebody else on my team who's a little bit smarter with such things. Just let me do that in the near future. But yeah, all cool things.
Yeah, very interesting. Yes, I think you're right. We could talk about that again. That's for the next time we have you guys come on the show.
Yes.
We can talk more about that. It's something that I use in my business quite frequently, and I've learned a lot about prompt engineering and just implementing it into my business and continuing to streamline processes. And it's an interesting sort of example that you gave that I hadn't even really considered, using it to help bolster security of your software. That's huge, so that you're not, having to worry about user error. You can kind of have something monitoring that in the background as often as necessary to make sure that everybody's payment information is really safe, which is key.
Yes.
So speaking of payment, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. I'm actually really excited to hear your answer to this question,
Okay.
because this is probably the number one factor that a lot of small business owners have to consider, because we're always trying to find the investments that are worth it for us, for our business. And many people that are just starting out are kind of on that shoestring, or they're going to be bootstrapping from their own personal finances and startup costs to get their business rolling.
Right.
But having access, in my opinion, having access to a tool like this is essential, and choosing the right one is really important. So let's talk about Project2Payment's pricing. Tell us why it's like, this isn't like, I know this already. This is a no-brainer. You guys are accessible. You are affordable. So now I just need you to tell us how and why and how that works.
Yeah. So we mentioned the $20 a month. The beauty of that is we want it to be geared towards small businesses. And as we continue to add features, that's not going to change. So fast forward to the next time we're on the podcast and we're talking about AI tools and all sorts of things. We're committed to giving back. So we touched on the core values, being able to give time and flexibility back, and remove that barrier to entry of a $250 monthly payment or something crazy like that, is always important to us. And the real cool thing is kind of in the company structure. So we mentioned we operate a number of different apps. And the beauty of that is because we are actually a payments company. So way back in the day, Internet 1.0, I joke and call it, like when websites were just coming up. Businesses were cutting edge if they had a website. Our company was assisting with putting payment terminals and allowing payments to be processed just on websites. We mentioned Stripe and some of the other big guys. You're not going to last as a small family-owned company in that type of world. So we pivoted to operating applications that we can put on top of those payments in order to provide value. And that's a whole bunch of jargon and probably not worth saying. But the reason is because we have that company background, is we're able to kind of cut out a partner, somebody who has their hand in the cookie jar. And we're able to charge cheaper processing rates and manage that ourselves rather than passing on fees for that to our customers. So not only do you get that guarantee of a low monthly price because of who we are as a company and who we're geared towards, but you also get that assurance that you're going to get processing rates that are the or near the best in the industry.
No, that is absolutely true. And I was really blown away by that, because my business operates on one of your competitors, not for much longer, obviously. As I continue to transition everything over. So for me, starting out using a competitor of yours, I was able to use it for free, quote unquote. But then once I started wanting to use their appointment scheduling software, that's like $30 a month. And once I started trying to use some of their other like higher end features, that continues to tack on expenses for us over the course of time. And so the fact that you guys have access to a very low monthly fee for everything is really awesome. And I don't have to worry about tacking on, what would have been $20 and now suddenly it's costing me $250 a month. And I didn't even know how that happened to begin with. Not only that, but you said that your payment processing fees are the same no matter what form of payment you take, correct? Whether it's credit card, what other types of payments that you guys take, it's all the same processing fee, right?
Yeah, so I mentioned the as low as terminology, and that applies just to credit cards. E-checks are actually priced cheaper. The direct bank connection is even cheaper. That's at 0.5%, just because there's less players in the game. There's no credit card companies
Hmm.
uh, hand in the cookie jar again. But that as low as oftentimes applies to the way that the credit card was taken. So if it's in person, it's a
Right.
chip. It is the most secure. Therefore, they don't have to make you pay more for the possibility of a liability happening. If it's over the phone, it's X. If it's over a website, it's X. And there's no as low as with Project2Payment. There's just the rate, the 2.9 and the 25 cents, which is nice. I think a lot of times that's something, I mean, before 5 years ago when I was in college, I didn't know that businesses were paying, to take credit card payments or take them online. And I sure as heck didn't know that there was different fees associated with the different methods.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of business owners who are listening to this probably don't realize that either.
Right.
The difference between 2.9% and 3% is minuscule on a transaction, but across a year, 5 years, 10 years, we're talking about some serious revenue that you're losing because of that advertised price versus the actual price you're paying.
Oh yeah, and in some cases with competitors that I've used in the past, it goes as high as like 6%, depending on if they're doing like some of them work with companies like Afterpay, and where you can split up into different payment plans using like another sort of crediting company. So like that's a really big hand in the cookie jar, so to speak. And that's
Yes.
like between 6 and 8%. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And then when you guys are like, nope, it's 2.9% plus 25 cents for every transaction, I'm like, okay, that brings it down to a manageable level. And for those of you who are still concerned about, that money coming out of your account, remember that that's a tax deductible expense, right? So you are going to get that money back once you go and file your taxes. So it's not something that, you're losing out on that revenue. It's just a business expense. So, but that's a reasonable one, in my opinion.
Totally. And another cool thing that we have in Project2Payment, it's not something that comes up because for the product manager in me, it's not a flashy feature, but that's surcharging. So depending on your state and location, you have the ability to pass on that fee to your customer. And we have that built into the platform. The beauty is we have most of those rules and regulations covered in how it's structured, and put up the support dinger because they will help you understand those rules and regulations. If you have a question, they're going to make sure you understand everything you're doing with it. But having that ability to even remove that expense. So you're going to be paying it as a business, but to pass that on for somebody who wants to use their credit card for accessibility or for the air miles or things like that. You have that opportunity in Project2Payment as well.
That's awesome. I'm glad you mentioned that for sure. So let's pivot just a little bit, talk about impact. Obviously, one of the things that you guys really boast about is giving back to your customers, your community, and all of that. So as you see the adoption of this technology, what do you feel is the impact for these businesses over the next 5 years? How do you think it will help them improve their ability to make money and grow their business?
The big thing for those who aren't implementing a tech solution is it's not going away. If you don't have one right now, if it's not required of you right now, it's coming. It's going to be. And getting in that early is a benefit in general. But all those things we talked about, the organization of it, the professionalism of it, people win bids by looking more professional, by having their things organized. So being able to have those benefits at the tip of your finger is definitely huge. And like I said, it's not going away. As the industry continues to change, as professional organizing continues to change, we'll adapt with that. We'll understand those changing needs with you. We'll hear you when you give us feedback, and we'll continue to build those things and make the ever-changing landscape of service businesses or business in general. We'll make Project2Payment fit to it rather than making your business fit to a tech solution.
Yeah, I mean, I want to piggyback off that because what you just said is really amazing and think about this for a second, you guys. If you have a company like this that is willing to actually listen to you and hear your feedback and make changes based on what they're hearing from you, that is huge. Could you imagine a larger payment processing company or any other software that we use to streamline our business? Could you imagine having the ability to have that relationship with another business, like I can't really think of another company. And that's why, as we get closer and closer to the end of this podcast, I'm really excited for an announcement that we're going to make here at the end, but I just really can't think of any other companies that I've worked with that do that. And that's just so cool and special. Like it just really gets me in the feels, it's so crazy to think about. But it's true.
And from our point of view, we're good at what we do, right? You're in your business, you're good at your business. We're not in your business. We're not going to ever tell you how to operate your business. We want you to tell us how you are operating your business and making our solution fit into that. So anybody who is currently a customer has experienced that. We have inside the application suggest a feature tools. And we've had people suggest even the smallest of things like, hey, it'd be easier if this was organized here rather than here. And the way our team is set up, we're able to make those changes a lot of time really quickly. As soon as, like, depending on the size of the change, that same week. Like if we hear you out, we understand your need for a different solution, we're able to do that. Not quite live, but real time as real time can get for an online application. And that's a really rewarding part of the job is hearing from business owners and learning how they're using us and fitting our solution to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really amazing. I'm so glad that our paths have crossed and we're able to share that with everybody in our community. So just kind of to wrap up these last few little things here, what do you find, other than what we just talked about, what do you find most personally rewarding about your role in this business?
Yeah. First question, I think, talked about my ability at the beginning to wear a lot of different hats and learn from a lot of people. It was always important to me to not be the smartest person in the room, especially at the beginning of the career. And I get to do that again. So it's almost come full circle where I get to wear a lot of different hats. I get to each day design new features based off of customer feedback, have that customer communication or partner communication with you or a host of other partners. You get to work with our developers each day. So that's why I keep saying smartest people in the room. I'm certainly not the smartest person in the room when I'm with them. And learn from them how most efficiently to do things or better ways to tweak things. And I mentioned partnerships a little bit. I love this ability to be able to reach out to different people, connect with different organizations. And as cliche as it is, it comes down to like the relationships, right? Like I get to have my relationship with these people and I get to have relationships with business owners and partners and learn from people across all different walks of lives and apply those things to our product. And it fills my cup being able to have those relationships and learn from people.
Well said. I love that. So we already talked about, I'm just looking at my list here. We already talked about customer support and security. So I want to jump into just our last couple of things here. I want to get your advice. This is a question that I always ask towards the end of episodes, just for you to provide our listeners and viewers with some advice. Anybody who's hesitant about integrating new technology into their operations, you already mentioned that it makes you look more professional, but what advice would you give them to kind of overcome that initial sort of hesitancy?
Yes. Put my occupation, my affiliation aside, just try it, dive in. Like we mentioned earlier, tech's not going away. If you're operating a successful business right now, pen and paper, that's fantastic. But the ability to do that is going to become a lot more difficult. So even if it's not Project2Payment, if you don't try Project2Payment, try one of our competitors. And I won't say anything bad about our competitors because there's a lot of people in the space that do a lot of incredible things. Try it out. Almost all of them have a free trial. We alluded to an exciting thing that we'll chat about at the end, but some people offer maybe even better free trials than others, longer lengths. Try it out. Give feedback. I know for Project2Payment, as you jump on, you have the ability to affect the software, affect the features that you'll see and use. And that's really the biggest thing, especially from what I do day to day and how I see it. Tech's not going away. You're going to have to get in sooner rather than later. So I would suggest taking the leap, try it out, fit it into your processes. And eventually, if you can expand upon that, that's beautiful. But jump in, try it out, give us some feedback, hopefully us instead of somebody else, and tell us how we can make it better.
Right. Yeah. Well said. And I mean, just to, again, kind of piggyback off of that, what better company to try it out with than somebody where you actually have good support? You can get questions answered in real time. You can provide feedback. You've got good security, good business history, and just all these different things that lend themselves to a really wonderful experience with stepping outside your comfort zone and trying something that will really help skyrocket your business. Couldn't have said it better. So now my last question before we launch into our big special announcement and gifts that we have for all of our listeners. I like to end with like a James Lipton style fun question. We have our James Lipton moment. If you could describe Project2Payment as an animal, which one would it be and why? Did you think about this one already?
I did. I'm not the most creative person on my feet. Can I use a fictional animal?
Absolutely.
So funny enough, I'll go with a phoenix, and not because I'm just a Harry Potter fan, which I am, but a lot of our team members transitioned from one of our other products, and we started Project2Payment from the ground, from nothing. It started as a code base with 0 characters on it and is now grown to, 1 million characters. We named that code base Phoenix because we were starting from nothing, and we, will strive to fly and grow and become something powerful. So as silly as that sounds, I think I would have to go with a phoenix, and it lends itself nicely because that's what the code base is named after in our backend. So that's funny.
I love that. That's great. That's not silly at all. I think that's perfect. I think it rounds it out really nicely, and it's cool to know that's what you guys call your coding, language or
Yeah.
model or whatever you're using. That's awesome. I think that's perfect. Okay, Jack. So I'm gonna let you do the honors here to tell our listeners and viewers what we have in store for them, and then I'll come in and fill everybody else in with all the rest of the details.
Yes. So I'll start with a background as to why we started our now announcing partnership. Is we as a business were researching underserved industries and trying to understand who's out there running successful businesses that doesn't have anybody directly catering to their needs or hearing them out and designing things for them. And I actually have to give credit to another one of my team members. My team member Jen was like, "Hey, I watch a lot of organizing videos for the satisfaction of it on like YouTube and TikTok." She was like, "Have you ever reached out to anyone?" And as I researched it, didn't seem like there was anybody who was catering to the needs of a growing and important industry. So we started doing some research, and I connected with Melanie, and fun and excited, proud to announce that we are partnering with Melanie I Speak Organized. And through that, through her specific code, which I'm sure we'll drop in the description of the podcast, you actually have the ability to get 3 months free. So I alluded to it earlier when I pushed you all to try tech solutions, removing even that extra barrier to entry. Now that monthly fee doesn't hit for 3 months. So you have the ability to fully dive in, try it. Maybe it doesn't work for you. I'm hoping and I'm confident that it will. But because of this awesome partnership, you now have a little bit more of a runway to ramp up and try it out.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone out there that offers a 3-month trial. Just saying, that's pretty awesome, especially for all of the different things that you get and all of the things that are to come with this software.
Totally.
Like I said, it's very exciting, and I'm not trying to sound some type of way when I say this, but I do get approached by different companies every single day looking to engage in partnerships. And I was absolutely blown away when Jack and I first spoke. And so, and I'm not trying to, say that because of any particular reason other than I just was very excited. I was very impressed. And it's just a good product. I encourage you guys in a similar fashion to just give it a try. Comment if you guys have questions. And then of course you can call their amazing support team if you need anything additional. I think that the code is just project2payment.com/I speak organized, right?
Yes. Yeah. And if you go to that landing page, you'll see some information, some videos and things like that. And if you do click sign up for 3 months free, you don't have to type it in. That website will pre-type it in and make sure you get taken care of, and that 3 months free is applied correctly.
Cool. And if not, you can just feel free to call and yell at Jack.
Totally. Yeah, like I said, if we ever make a mistake, we're going to own up to it and at least right the wrong. So if it doesn't apply, I can guarantee you we'll get it fixed.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I'll make sure to have that information linked down in the description and the podcast show notes as well. Jack, it was an absolute pleasure to have you here for the first of hopefully many times.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, my podcasting debut and on one that I've tuned into many times. I couldn't be happier to have chatted with you today.
All right, fam, as always, that's going to wrap it up. And I am truly honored that you've chosen to spend a little bit of your time with me today on the Speak Organized podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this if you got value out of today's video, and be sure to leave us that rave 5-star review. If you haven't already, go ahead and join our free Facebook groups. You can join in the conversation there and ask questions about today's episode and any of the other content that we produce. And remember that all of those resources are listed down in the description below and the podcast show notes if you want to pick up access to my Overbooked course or the Pro Organizer Forms Pack. You get that discount using the code YTPRO8. And then if you want to check out Project2Payment, of course, that information is down there as well. You head to project2payment.com/iSpeakOrganized to receive 3 months absolutely free to check it out. I promise you, you will not be sorry. So make sure that you don't miss out on any of those opportunities. And beyond that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.